Hey guys, Jay here from the Blaenau Gwent Film Academy, coming at you with another one of my top acting tips. Today we're continuing with our series of acting in different environments. Last time we've done desert and snow, and today we're doing wind. So acting in the wind, what does that entail? Well, that entails us being in an environment where there is a really strong wind current. Now, you don't have to be in a specific place to act in the wind. You don't have to be in the North Pole or in the Sahara Desert. You can just be anywhere. But if your film sort of requires it to have a really strong wind, and it's not windy outside, or you're inside and you haven't got a fan, well then that requires you to act as though you're in wind. So how can we do this? Well, if you think about wind as just a big force coming towards you, because that's what it sort of is. It's sort of like the air being blown towards you at a certain speed. Now, it could be just a breeze, which doesn't really affect us. But if it's really gale force winds, or even like a hurricane, then it's really just like a force constantly coming towards you, okay? A great way of doing this is sort of putting our hands up as though, like a mime, you know, like a mime stuck in a box, okay? But imagine there is a big sort of invisible wall here, okay? And now just try and push it, okay? Use your imagination. There's a big invisible wall and you're trying to push it, okay? That's a really easy one. But what if it's really hard? Ooh, okay? Ooh. But that just looks like I'm pushing a really strong box. So if I put my arm here, oof, okay? Now this is a bit more dynamic, it uses more of my body, a different shape, and it's also something people do when they're walking through really gale force winds. Sort of covering your eyes, okay? And really sort of like that, okay? But it's not, walking through wind isn't just like a really smooth thing. It pushes back, okay? It's not like an invisible wall where it's just like, okay? Wind is constantly being blown towards you. So, if we're walking through wind, imagine the invisible wall, and imagine it's constantly fighting back. And I'm just blowing to sort of get myself in the mindset that it's windy. Now, you could try that as well. When you're doing these different things, if you have any sound effects to sort of get you in the zone of acting in this environment, do it. But remember not to do it when you're being filmed, okay? So like this, imagine the sound, and sort of pushing back, and then you push a bit forward, okay? So it's really constant fighting. Now remember our levels of tension, okay? This is a really tense thing, okay? All of your sort of arms are really tense because they're fighting. You're not just sort of loose armed, like, okay? No, you're really fighting this imaginary wall. And then all the sort of like wind sound effects are coming towards you. Now I have long hair, okay? So you can sort of tell if it's windy or not. But if I move my head, it can give a bit more of an effect that it's windy. Now, like I said, having a fan or something blowing a little bit can really sort of go that extra mile to communicate that it's windy. But just doing that, this sort of struggle against an invisible force, is a great way of showing that you're in wind. Now, maybe there's a tornado or a hurricane in your movie. Maybe it's like a big disaster movie. The hurricane is ripping through sort of your city or something terrible like that. So that's sort of everything's getting blown everywhere. So you're sort of like trying to hold on to something. Okay, you're always being pulled or pushed in a different direction when acting in wind, okay? So sort of remember that. If your film is like, oh, there's a hurricane or there's lots of wind, maybe you're on top of a mountain or something like that, always remember that you're constantly being pushed or pulled in a direction. So if there's something to hang on to, try and do that. Sort of grip onto the wall, grip onto a handle somewhere, okay? And that can really sort of communicate that you are acting in real gale force winds, okay? So have a go at home, okay? This is a really sort of fun exercise, even if you're going nowhere, even if your film doesn't have wind in it, have a go at doing this, because I think it's really good, it's a really good exercise, and it can really sort of get you in that acting mood, okay? So have a look at lots of different movies and TV and see if any of the characters are acting in a windy environment, see how they behave, how they act. It might be that when they were filming, it wasn't actually that windy and that they've had to really act to sort of communicate that it was, okay? So stay acting, stay active, and have lots of fun.